Finally, this little show can end. I wasted so much time walking around pretending to be something I'm not. I have experiments to conduct, research to be doing. But as a guest in this fine city, for now I need to do my part. Still, I find myself wondering how much of this is all for the greater work, and how much of this is for the Magister Mystery's personal goals. All this grand scheming, what is it truly achieving? Then again, schemes of course please the great architect greatly, so perhaps I should not question too much. Still, I'm looking forward to returning to my laboratory and getting back to work. Just one simple kill, and I can finally return to my important work. This is Red Moon Roleplaying. Meanwhile, back in the palace of Middenheim, Siegfrieda, your friends have rapidly gone into the night. You have no idea what's happened there. You do briefly look out the window and you can see lots of noise and commotion, but eventually it's far from the palace. Instead, you are here. It seems Lady Emmanuel Knight very quickly left herself to pursue whatever's going on, but you are joined by Barrack, who looks to your side. You notice the Graf being taken away by his knights, and Barrack says to you, "Right, well, let's, oh, what a fucking mess. Too much is happening at once, but dare I say, it looks like it might actually be going in our favour. You come with me, let's see what we can find in, well, Lord Joachim's room. He's obviously escaped. That must have been him, but let's see if we can find anything."
Oh, gladly. Lead on. I don't know my way around this palace, honestly. It's much too roomy for a simple lady like me.
Then you make your way through the palace. You find yourself in a chamber. There's a lot of people here now. Knights, guards, starting to look through things, and you yourself see Barrack head towards a desk. It's a room with a desk, a bed, a wardrobe. Standard-looking, nice room, you think to yourself. What do you do? Apparently is the room of this Lord who clearly isn't here. Does that mean he's the one who was rapidly getting away?
Well, usually the best place to search in any location like this is the desk, so I'll say to Barrack, I'll take the desk. You search over there, I gesture vaguely with my arm. Thought is, of course, going through my head during all of this, as selfish and self-defeating as it is. What kind of person have I become where I started torturing someone for information? But I know that right now is not the time for self-recrimination. There's too much going on. Is this desk locked? Is there anything on it?
As you go towards the desk, it's not locked at all. It opens easily, and there's a bunch of papers and reports in here.
Well, here's hoping for a signed confession that says I did it and here's why. I start rifling through the paperwork.
Indeed you do, and you come across a lot of letters. Most of it isn't that important, but you do find one interesting-looking letter.
What kind of handwriting is this in?
It's very nicely written. Nice, good handwriting.
I examine it under the candle lights. Looks like a letter from an aristocrat here, Barrack. Everything is almost ready. I have not forgotten your reward for your excellent service. Having access to the treasury, you can be assured you will be paid well. We just need you to keep on your roll a little while longer. Once the tax has passed, we can have Hofflick finally meet a little accident, and you can return to the shadows. We have the girl nice and secure, so Ehrlich will not be a problem. You will need to do something about Vasmir, but that should not be too difficult, I hope, is how I'm interpreting that. Soon a lot of us shall be very, very rich indeed. Is there a signature or seal on this letter? Hoping against hope that this criminal has been arrogant enough to actually mark themselves as the sender.
Sadly not. But the handwriting does look quite distinct. Maybe someone can trace it, and it is quite interesting, isn't it? Also, then, as you're reading this, Barrett comes over to you and hands you another piece of paper saying, "What the hell do you make of this?" It is a strange-looking thing. It's almost like a diagram, like someone's drawn a circle and then there's lots of lines coming out of the circle. In the center of the circle is the name, the Graph. Around the circle are several other names. Some of them are highlighted, some of them are crossed out, but you recognize some of them. One of the names says the Champion, Herr Schmiedenhammer, and next to him, Hypnotism. Then there's another line, Arl Ulrich, and it's connected to someone called Lady Kirsten Young. Affair! Exclamation mark. Then there is a collection of names, Lord Elric, Daughter, and then there is Lord Wasmere, but that's crossed out, says Too Honourable. And then there is a few more of these as well. What on earth is this?
Well, I come to a very quick conclusion looking over this. Well, this appears to be a list of blackmails, or whether they're in force or whether they're planned. It seems that you have a group of very influential people on this list, Barak, and everyone here is susceptible, except for your friend here on the bottom, to being controlled, whether by hypnotism or because they're having an affair or for whatever reason.
Although, Eric, you don't need to make a roll for this, Siegfried. You don't see the High Chancellor's name on this.
No. Of course, that may mean they made the list. You wouldn't name yourself.
You see Barrack nodding very grimly as he looks this all over and starts saying, "Well, there we have it. This is it. Lord Hofflick. He must be responsible for everything, or at least colluding with someone. This is all in his room and he's not here."
I don't know. This could very easily be set up for us to find in this instance. I'm not dismissing it entirely. Chaos can breed stupidity. Oh god, I feel like I'm speaking like an inquisitor now. I lean on the desk. The matter is this. You're the Inquisition, you're the Knights, the Black Chamber, call themselves what you like. You are the people who will have to be responsible for rallying or rounding these individuals up and speaking to them in the gentlest possible terms to find out exactly what is going on. You're not going to be able to find out who is responsible for this without speaking to everyone and finding a uniformity of names, or hopefully one name. There are far too many people on this list for my friends and I, if my friends indeed have survived their carriage ride, to track down. But right here, even if this is a false lead, Barak, you have your names. You have your conspirators, whether willingly or not. It's going to cause quite a scandal in your city, I imagine, to see so many powerful people getting hauled into questioning. So while it isn't my place, I would certainly advise some discretion.
He nods, but he chuckles. "Discretion, my dear. No, that's probably done with. This is... We literally just saved the Graf from an assassination attempt. This is gonna be... Oh, hell, I don't know. This is interesting. But, yep, you're right. It's all here."
No, Barak. Let me just make something clear, and I appreciate that on this matter you are infinitely more qualified than I am. I will pretty much stab my finger into the desk to make this point, and then point at him. This kind of thing, we saw it in... My friends and I saw it in Wittgendorf. We've seen it elsewhere. When you make these things public, when everyone is aware there's some gross crime or wrongdoing, everyone starts naming everyone else because they want their innocence to be known. They want to be seen as less guilty than someone else, and if that means turning in 2 or 3 other people, then that's what they will do. And this led to an entire collapse in Wittgendorf of everyone accusing everyone else of being infected, diseased, chaotic, and so on. And that was just a small town. Barely even that, a village. Here, if I appreciate the Graf is going to be incensed, to put it mildly, and that you will have your marching orders, but I am very strongly advising you, my best instincts tell me that you need to keep this quiet, because as soon as you pull in the biggest player, they are going to do everything to save their hide, and it won't be naming their accomplices. They'll name as many people as they can to free themselves. Your city will... your hierarchy will collapse.
Barrack chuckles a little, but then he does nod. How little you think of me, Siegfried. I agree with most of the stuff you said. Sorry, I meant that it can't all be done completely hush-hush. There will be some public outcry at all this, but no, I agree with you. What's happening? You three are normally the opposite of shrewd.
Well, we work with the tools we're given.
I suppose the only issue is poor Lady Emmanuel. It seems the cult was not as evolved as much as she thought.
Oh, like I said, I do not think this is even the tip of the spear.
Well, we may do with what we can. As he turns, I'd then like you to make a perception check at my +20.
Still not great for me. Luckily, I've still got pools of rerolls, so I'm going to actually choose what this one lands on to get the best possible outcome, which is it a 0-0 or a 11? It would be an 11, wouldn't it? 0-0 is 100. So yes, let's go for an 11.
You turn around the room and you suddenly smell something. It is extremely, extremely faint, and you have a feeling that nobody else would even notice. But you are a doctor, which means you do notice this smell. It's the smell of rot. It's very, very minor, and you almost are amazed you caught it yourself. It must be your experience with rotting cadavers that means you are able to detect that smell better than other people.
I will call it out. Alright, can you smell that? I'm guessing not by the fact you haven't reacted to it.
He starts sniffing the air and shrugs. The room smells a bit musty.
I'll try following my nose.
You follow it to a bed. The bed in the room.
I'm going to... Presumably there's no one on the bed. That would be... I wouldn't have to smell that out if there's a rotting corpse there. So I'll look underneath the bed.
You look under the bed. You don't see anything, but you can smell the smell. You do notice the flagstones under the bed. They look a little unusual.
Barrack, can you help me move this bed?
Barrack nods and pushes the bed aside. He looks a little confused, although then he does look at the flagstone and leans down and starts tapping it a little. You've heard that dwarves and stone have a bit of relationship, stone sense and all that. You're not entirely sure if that's actually true or just a silly myth, but he does seem to be suddenly saying, flagstone, it's not... hang on. And he goes and lifts the flagstone that comes up very easily, which you don't think it should. Again, this should be a very nice floor, but it does come up easily. And then you smell it nice and clear, the smell of a rotten corpse.
Well, this is unpleasant and curious. How far down is it?
Not very. This is a small little nook.
Like one might hide treasure in, for instance.
Exactly. And you look down and you see a small little area that looks like it has a little box in it and a dead body. The dead body is wrapped up in a bag at this present, but that is definitely a rotting cadaver.
Okay, help me lift this out. Sorry, Barrack, but I'm going to need your help. Bodies weigh a lot more than you'd imagine.
And he helps you lift the body out, and he takes a moment to try and look inside, Barrack, that is, and he frowns heavily, backs away and says, What? It doesn't make any sense.
I will undo the bindling sheet and see who we're looking at.
Well, it's not anyone you recognise. They look like a man, maybe they were in their 40s, one thing you don't need to make a roll for, due to your earlier success, is that they've clearly been dead for some time. This is like a body, the state a body would be in after 2 or 3 weeks of decomposure.
Oh. Who is it? What do you mean it doesn't make sense?
That's Lord Hofflick.
And everything that took place here, I haven't seen Hofflick, have I?
You've never seen this Lord Hofflick, but you did think he was your man by deduction, and apparently, just as you came in, people said, oh yes, he'd just been here and just entered he'd actually gone to see the graph, you think, was the last thing you heard before all the chaos began.
But so this could be our shapeshifter, basically, because I remember I didn't gain a look at the person who Kruger and Heinrich were fighting.
Certainly could have. All you know at the moment is that the man who's apparently the mastermind of all this is here, very dead.
Like I said, Barak, I don't think that list is giving us all the answers, and whoever Heinrich and Kruger are pursuing is not Hofflick. I say, gesturing down at that corpse. Obviously, we can look into how he died at some other point. It seems strange that he'd keep the body around unless he needs parts of it to maintain the disguise, but that's a medical query for another day. We should... My mind is a blank. What to do? I can't get to Kruger and Heinrich. Hofflick presumably isn't still in the palace because this person fled.
Indeed. You also noticed that little box as well. Little small box.
I will lift it out, open it up.
There's a few coins in here, some empty vials, and a note. And initially, when you look at the note, it appears to be completely nonsensical. It's written in nonsense. But is that the case?
Well, I've read my share of nonsense before.
Well, in this case, nonsense is in gobbledygook words, misspellings. There is not a single word here in Reichsspiel.
I'm guessing this is some kind of code. I will bring it to the light, examine the piece of parchment, see what I can glean from it. I have an ink pot and quill. I mean, Ulrich knows how I carry all of these things on me at all times, but I do. And so I withdraw it George Stobart style and we'll start trying to decrypt this coded message.
Well, initially that's very tricky. After all, you don't know that many codes. And then, a thought does occur to you. You do have, in your pocket, where you keep all your important papers, something you got quite recently. Do you remember?
There was a cipher, wasn't there?
There was, and it's currently in your pocket. Well, it's currently in your bag.
Yes, we're not so modern that women are given pockets on their clothing. I will withdraw the cipher from my bag and compare and contrast.
It takes some time, but it seems you have time. You don't know what's happening with your friends, but for now it seems you are in this room and Barrack sees what you're doing and seems happy for you to continue. And it works, Siegfrieda. You are beginning to decode this message, and you can already make a deduction based on that alone. This is coded by the Purple Hand. And if you hadn't got this code, this cipher, who knows if you'd actually be able to even read this in a timely fashion. But it does begin to be decoded, and eventually it says this.
Oh, it's a long one. I don't envy the person who had to initially encode it. Well, Barak, I hope you're comfortable, because I've got some reading to do for you. You were looking for cult activity, so was Lady Nacht. I think here it is. But it seems that the recipient of this letter could not read instructions, because it starts, "Remember to burn this straight after reading. As always, it is vital everything is followed to the letter. As soon as you return to this chamber after reading this, return to the Graf's chamber using the potion I have provided. Of course, make sure to have all the evidence ready to be found. Don't just leave it lying around making it look convincing. I feel very proud of myself right now, and allow myself a small smile. Same with the body. Then come morning, summon me and all the other law lords at once. Everything shall flow from there. The discovery of the evidence shall be the first step. Don't worry about having to maintain your new identity for long. We can arrange a suitable accident later for you to get back to your other duties. It finally shall all begin to fall into place under the reign of Graf Stefan. Every loose end can finally be taken care of. You will be rewarded for your deeds, and well, a new guiding hand will lead this city to greatness. Najawa Thak Izimba Tzinch.
Barak, for the first time since you've met him, looks genuinely surprised.
Well, you look like you've seen a ghost, Barak.
But I don't quite... What does this mean? And you begin to mull this over, Siegfrieda. Initially, you understand why Barak is confused. This is confusing, and then suddenly... it's not. They wanted the evidence to be found. The evidence you've just found very easily. That was all part of the plan. The High Chancellor's name isn't on there, and yet you know that the High Chancellor has been blackmailed as part of this scheme. And you also know that Lord Hofflick here is very dead, and one of the Lords is downstairs. And on that piece of paper, which they wanted found, is a nice bit of evidence clearing the name of Lord Wasmir. It all begins to make sense. This entire time, all the problems you three have been having, all the obstacles, constantly being told that this plan made no sense, that this tax thing wouldn't work, that half the people involved didn't even seem to know they were involved in a chaotic conspiracy. That was the plan. All along. The taxes were never meant to succeed. They were meant to fail. In the morning, the note says people are going to come in here and find all this evidence. Talking about a conspiracy. It would, of course, be investigated. As you just said yourself, the ramifications of all this will be dire. And here's someone saying that finally all the loose ends will be able to be tied up. They wanted this plan to fail, so they could move in. And you find yourself wondering, where is Lord Wasmir right now?
I will wave the piece of paper in my hand. The name given as most innocent, most honourable, Wasmir. Do you know where he is, Barak?
Barak frowns and yells to a guard, Have we summoned him yet? And a guard says, Well, Lord, he's not in his chambers. Apparently he was with Lord Hofflick an hour or so ago. Barak gives you a look. That son of a bastard. It's him, isn't he? It's him, this is... They were gonna murder the Graf. Meanwhile, two brave adventurers are rapidly ascending the wall of the great city of Middenheim. You are on one of these sort of passenger lifts. It's currently going at speeds it shouldn't really be going at. It's not necessarily dangerous for just two of you, but it could be if there were more people. You are rapidly in pursuit of another lift. This lift is about maybe 20 feet ahead of you. What do you do, Heinrich? The situation seems to be that you are rapidly on a lift. It's going to head up to the top of the wall. You don't really think there's a way of escaping up there. You can already see several guards, several knights are all clamouring beneath you, and obviously the guardsmen have a way of ascending the wall themselves. There are probably some stairs by the gatehouse. So it's simply a matter of time, but you have, it seems, a few idle minutes. What would you like to try and do, as someone is above you on a similar lift?
Kruger, I have a confession to make.
Oh?
I have no idea how to stop this elevator.
Oh. Well, thanks for telling me.
I felt it was the right thing to do. It looks like we're gaining on him.
That's good. That's good. We can't let him get away. All right. How can we get to them from here? I mean, we can't just wait to arrive, or...
Well, you could just wait to arrive, but if you wanted, there are a few options. You could try just shooting the lift. You might catch the person. You could just also wait. You do think you're probably both going to be in the same place anyway. in a couple of minutes. I will also let you know this, Kruger, as you look at what's happening with the rope and the wheel. You think it will stop quite abruptly just when you reach the top. You might want to steady yourself, but you don't think you're in any danger at this point.
Right.
Are we worried what's going to happen if the guards get to him? Or what he'll do to the guards?
Yes. He would kill them if they're not with him already. If they are, then, well, he might use this opportunity to make his escape.
Oh god, I hadn't even considered the second thing. How far apart are these lifts? Not vertically, but horizontally. The important question is, could we jump from lift to lift?
Basically, it's higher than you at the moment by about 20 feet. But I suppose if someone was on someone else's shoulders, you could maybe make a leap up. Very dangerous, but maybe possible.
Are we going faster on our lift than he is on his lift?
You're actually going at the exact same speed. And as you're thinking that, you then hear someone speak. Slightly high-pitched voice from above you.
Oh, Lieberung, you meddling little bastard! Why won't you just quit? You've already ruined everything!
And being, again, called Lieberung, it never ends, does it? Yes, unfortunately, you are no match for the great Castor Lieberung.
Yes, I know. Again, well done. It was a brilliant plan.
Oh, I'm no one. Me and my 3 friends are completely fucking innocent. I admit, it fucking worked, didn't it? You and your friends and that messenger, your friend Gideon.
Yes. Isn't it humiliating how this will turn out to be your fall?
Yes, you pathetic little worm. I always knew. Heinrich, you think you see maybe the person to say all this? Is he peeking out just a little? You could try shooting if you wanted. Hard shot, but possible.
Actually, you know what? I think for all the desire to interrogate this person, that little seed of paranoia that Kruger has put into my brain about the guards being on his side, not Kruger's side, but this menacing man's side, has actually rooted very deeply in my brain, and now I'm paranoid thinking about it. So shooting him much higher on the priorities. Not immediately. I will draw the pistol and with that very steady shooter aim, taking a deep breath, and I'll just look to Kruger and say, I can end it.
I just nod to you, and I'll try to continue antagonizing him.
The second that you nod, that's enough for me.
Very well then, you aim up your shot. It's a bit tricky, but you are both moving at the same speed, and it is a pistol, does have some range. Make your shot with a +10, as you do seem to be distracting this individual, Kruger.
I have rolled exactly on the number. That is a 53 out of 53.
Then you aim, you fire, and you hear a most satisfying shriek of agony as you hit. You're not entirely sure what you hit, but you hit something. And the man does seem to retreat back onto the lift, but he is screaming now. And finally, the lift comes to the top, but please make an athletics check, both of you, to -10, just to steady yourselves as it comes to the top very quickly.
Huh? That's pretty good. That's a 2 under 42, so I should be fine.
I've rolled a 62 over 52.
Very well then. The lift comes to a sudden stop. Heinrich, you do lose your balance a little. It's not the end of the world, but you do kind of find yourself down on your knees. But you, luckily, Kruger, are a little more agile and you're ready to move. You are on the top of the wall of the city of Middenheim. That is the great, gigantic fortress wall that surrounds the whole city. On one side is the city. On the other side, a very, very, very long drop to, well, where the mountain eventually stops. You can see to your right the great aqueduct road, similar to the one you came on in the first place, that eventually slowly winds its way down to the bottom. But from here, it's a steep drop, unless of course you reached the lifts that would then take you down. But you're not quite there. You are able to be the first one to react then, as you see crawling to the edge of the wall a man. He's wearing a travelling cloak. He's bleeding very heavily. You can see the blood smear. You think Heinrich got him pretty good. He seems to have been trying to fiddle with something, but he's failing. What do you do?
Well, having experienced this, what these people are capable of, I am somewhat wary about this, but I will try to move up and capture them. I mean, if we could interrogate them, that would be so much better for actually solving this whole conspiracy. So I'll try to do that, move up with my crossbow aimed at them, and I'll just say, the game is up, you have no chance. Just give up.
He doesn't stop moving. He clambers onto very, very close to the edge, but there he does then slump a little. I see, let me guess. Now I surrender, you get me hung, and then... The only thing I haven't been sure of is, are you all in on it? Does that idiot with the fucking gun, does he even know? Or does he actually think you're a good little boy and you're saving the city?
Well, I mean, we are good little boys saving the city. This whole Caster Liebering thing, I've actually been telling the truth all along. I was just teasing you the other minute there, because I thought it would be funny.
Oh, shut up! Your plan has already succeeded. We did believe you. We all believed you. That's why it fucking worked, didn't it, for you to get to this point? Oh, you don't give me that bullshit that you are some innocent bystander. You've ruined everything! Do you have any idea how long it took to get this far?
It must have taken quite a while. I'll just nod. Yeah, it was quite an impressive plan. Unfortunately, you failed.
Heinrich, you've steadied yourself. You're by your friend's side. He has his crossbow on this man, but the man has gone all the way to the very edge. You can hear in the distance the sound of guards. They'll probably be here in about 5 minutes, maybe 6. It's quite a lot of them. But what do? You have your pistols ready, and this man, and you realize you recognize him. You've spoken to this man before. You spoke to this man at the party. Isn't this Lord Wasmere?
This fucking guy? I'm not going to let him jump. God help us. I am so sick and tired of not getting information out of these people. So as Kruger is aiming his crossbow and the guards are charging, I'm going to... I don't want to just start walking, because then he will jump. I want to spring at him and see if I can throw him back towards the center of the thing of the platform.
Then please make an opposed athletics roll as you try and move forward quickly. You're right, this is going to be hard, because if he goes the other way, he's going over. But maybe you can quickly wheel him round.
Can I make an argument for melee using my talent for step aside?
Yes, you can.
47 under 58.
How many success levels is that?
Just the one. I'm so torn, because this is one of those moments where I have the point of fate, and I haven't used it this entire series, and I'm like, I can keep this man, I have that power, but is it worth it? And that torments me every single time we play this game.
If you do that, you've got him. If not, he has rolled higher on his opposed roll.
I think it's worth it. I think that Heinrich is not going to let another one slip away, not after all of this, especially after cowardice in the thing. And just for once, wouldn't it be great to have someone in your clutches and wring the Caster Lieberung out of them? So I will spend my point of fate. I will choose an 11 for a critical under my 51.
You dive forward, Heinrich. You feel the movement in the air. You realize that he is about to quickly knee you or kick you and go over the edge. Is that what he actually wants? But you then realize that you did just shoot the man. And in these few seconds, you think you can see that you shot him, maybe you got him just on the side. So you quickly reach forward and you push your hand into that wound. And well, he doesn't have time to struggle, because instead he is overcome with pain as he goes limp. And well, how do you successfully bring him down off the edge?
That's a question of momentum. that when reaching into the wound, he reels back with pain. That lets me take the other hand and wrench it behind his back, and then just throw him forward into the center of the lift. He's off balance, so he won't be able to struggle against that, is my theory.
Certainly. Now, as he goes down, you do think to yourself he might have a bit more fight left in him. Would you like to stop that? A good headbutt to the face or a pistol whip probably would help.
I feel like a headbutt is perfectly dramatic.
Then you headbutt him how many times?
Oh, God. I didn't know that was an option. I think once to get that blank confusion, right? The surprise on his face, and then 2 to prove a point.
Then you do so, and he screams in outrage the first time, and then in just pain the second time as he slumps a little. You! Damn you. I look forward to when it happens. Lieberung, when this city is in flames, I look forward to the pain you'll experience. I know I won't be there to see it.
I look at him almost with a little bit of pity. And I don't say anything.
What do you do, Heinrich? 3 minutes now. The guards are coming. But you have him. You've shot him in the side. You've just headbutted him twice. He's yours.
God, it would be so satisfying to just, cock the hammer on the pistol. But there's answers somewhere in that brain of yours, either for us or for the Graph or for somebody. I'm not going to let you take the cultist coward's way out. And then with a dramatic flourish, I will stuff the pistol back into the bandolier. I'll look to Kruger and say, "You've got about 3 minutes worth of questions. I've done my part."
Right. Well, so this would be the time then when you confess and you tell us your brilliant plan that you worked so hard on.
I confess to nothing, but yes, Lieberung, all ruined, and I know why. You thought you were clever. I've always known, but I admit, you did stop me. You did convince me. It was a good plan.
Why are you doing all this? What's in it for you? I mean, for you personally.
What do you think, you fool? To rule the city. When the end times come, to survive them. What stupid question is that?
The end times?
The end times. Oh, I see. Is this all for this one? Do you even know? Do you actually think he really is? No, I suppose you're in on it. Or do you actually think... he spits some blood. I guess you think you're a brave hero of the city, Mr. Gunman. Good news. Everyone's going to die. And it's going to be because of you.
Oh. Because of us?
Yes. I, with my guidance, would have saved this city. But thanks to you, everyone here will burn when the end times come.
So who's going to deliver these end times? What's actually going to happen? Humor us.
The mighty gods of chaos! The signs are all clear. Soon the game will end and they will be victorious. Rather, Zeech will be victorious. And this world will come to its end and all will burn except those, of course, who are loyal. This city would be the bastion, the final remnant of mankind. But not now. Not now. But you know that. It was your plan all along, to eliminate that. You always knew, didn't you? Somehow you knew. You knew about my plan. That's why you came here in the first place, Caster. All to destroy it for the Altdorf cell. Those bastards.
I suppose you figured out who those people in the Altdorf cell are, haven't you?
He gives you an odd look.
Why would I know that? You're the one who's been breaking our traditions. I enforce them.
And I'm trying here to get him to reveal something that I don't necessarily know. Of course, the Altdorf cell, when he says that, and I'm trying to jog my memory here, those would be the people that we ended up fighting, right?
Probably. You have been told this cult has cells all over the place.
Right. What about the other cells, then?
Why would I... You forget yourself, Castor. It works. Me not knowing who the other cells are works. You're the one who was bringing it all down with your, oh, we must all unite! Unite! I've got this money on the way, you little cretin. I know why you did it. As the time comes, you wish to eliminate the competition. You wish to be the chosen. I must give credit, as each would be proud. It has worked. And now I get to be hung. Or burned, I suppose.
That may indeed be how this journey ends. You could try to save yourself. Perhaps there is something you can reveal, perhaps someone that you can sell out to save yourself.
He gives you a bit of a look and says, "You're going to speak on my behalf and say all the Chaos Conspiracy was actually not so bad and I'll only get off on a small hanging." You realize the problem here. This man doesn't get off. This is several capital crimes he has committed.
No, you're not probably going to make it out alive, but it could at least be done quickly, if you were to make yourself useful to the city.
Useful to the city, as if you care. Everything I did was for the city. Everything!
Your misguided conception of what good for the city notwithstanding. If there is some greater threat, if there is some larger terror, you're going to be rotting in a cell soon enough. Tell us what we need to know so that we might stop it. Otherwise, God, yammer until someone takes your tongue out.
He gives you a look and laughs. Very well then. The end times are upon us. The realms of man will soon fall. The enemy are already here, never mind out there. The only way to survive is to adapt and to serve. Otherwise you will die. I was trying to save this city. You two have doomed it. That's the situation. Be proud of yourselves. Sigma will not help you.
I'm assuming that the phrase end times means nothing to Heinrich's tiny pea brain.
Well, not in detail, but you are familiar with the concept. People have been saying it's been the end times forever. A lot recently, though, you have to admit, in your lifetime.
All right, it's a vague, just, the end is nigh kind of sense, but not like an actual, litany of something.
No, but again, you also haven't yourself looked into it too much. You do remember, in fact, the last time you heard one of the ranters, it was all the way back in Altdorf. Do you remember there was that preacher on the street? He said an awful lot of stuff about the end times. It was all quite specific. You do remember there was something about a power behind the throne, actually, he said back then. How unusual you remember that at this moment in time.
Well, that does put a slightly different spin on it, although, Heinrich has a person he goes to for that, and right now she's busy. So we're gonna file that in the back pocket where one of the old bullets used to be, and then not worry about that for now, because Heinrich thinking about it will only hurt himself.
Kruger, one more minute. You can see the guards rushing towards you.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at him. I mean, obviously he believes that I am who I'm supposed to be, who I have been fated to become.
Indeed. You'd also notice, no need for a roll, though he did say something about it worked. What does he mean by that? And then it occurs to you, oh yes, you have been telling them that you aren't him. It seems he did believe that for a time. Interesting.
Yes, I did try to just reveal it to him again, of course, but, well, he clearly wants to believe that, and it's what makes the most sense. I have to admit that my whole story of I am not Castor Lieberung is something that is a little bit difficult to believe, given all the evidence pointing in the other direction. So I'm just kind of going to go with it for right now. Well, I suppose the only thing then left to find out from him is if there's anyone else left in this particular cell here. So since this is going to end badly for you, is there someone else that we should also include in this? I mean, maybe you didn't really like them so much during the time when you were coming up with this great plan and you were working together. This would be your chance to make sure that they get to share the same fate as you.
It would amuse me more for it to be harder for you. You'll find them in time, Castor, come on. I'll probably have people at my house very soon. Of course, my servants will be trying to burn everything, but I have a feeling... you had to... Tell me how you knew about tonight. Was it my little pawns that they finally buckle so much for being professional? Did they tell you?
Well, I'll actually let that little detail be something that you can wonder about for the time that you have remaining. I must have some secrets as well, given that you're not going to spill yours. Why should I spill mine?
He turns and looks to the city for a moment. Fine. So close. Everything perfect. She was right. Should have had you free, murdered in that little inn, but I thought it would draw too much attention. Again, well done, Lieberung, it worked. Saying you weren't a threat. It was very believable.
I'm glad you believed it, because it is the truth. And I just smile, knowing that that's not in any way going to convince him.
And finally, the guards come. Heinrich, maybe you are anxious for a moment, but then the very first thing they say... Apologies, Lord. You are under arrest. You two, make sure he doesn't struggle.
Oh, gladly. I'll put a boot on the back of his neck.
How are you feeling, Heinrich? It was a little close there for a moment, but you feel yourself and you've won. You've done it. You took down the carriage, you took him down, and you don't think you even have... You have a few bruises, that's it.
Oh, well, I'm gonna need to get the armor repaired, but it's all a bit... Oh, God, every time we win, we get the cultist, and then nothing, no closer, just the ramblings of madmen. God, I start to understand why people read all those forbidden books. It's the only way to understand what's going on here, but that is the kind of talk that will get you set on fire in this town, so I'm keeping that to myself. It's hard to have these victories and not be any closer to anything, to Castor Lieberung piles of money or fame as a duelist, or God, even a witch-hunting hat. How can we be accomplishing so much and then have it not feel like anything? At least Siegfrieda's got her doctor's license.
Would you say your disappointment is obvious, maybe to someone like Kruger? Or are you trying to hide it?
I think Kruger, you get a sense that something is up. That, it's just like a lingering tension. There's no, buoyancy that you would expect in a full-fledged Heinrich victory.
Kruger, you notice Heinrich looking a little despondent. Maybe you feel despondent as well. But then as you see Erica, who has been by your side the whole time, didn't quite realize that, but she seemed happy to let you handle this man, and she comes up and starts giving you an affectionate nuzzle.
Oh.
Well, what happens now? And then something that maybe you think all three of you maybe haven't been thinking of, well, you don't know about Siegfrieda. Something happened tonight. Didn't you just... There was a graph, and is he alive or dead? And if you think if he's alive, have you just saved the Elector Count's life?
I know how you feel. I feel the same way. It's just secrets and conspiracies that go deeper than I can even begin to imagine. But I think we saved a life tonight. We saved the Graf, an Elector Count. We've saved the city, perhaps dooming it at the same time, depending on how we want to believe our friend here. But we've done something. We've prevented something really bad from happening.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you didn't even think about that, Heinrich. It occurs to you, why would you? It happened so quickly, but he's right. That old man was the Elector Count, and the other guy was trying to kill him, and you stopped that, and surely that gets a reward, doesn't it?
One would hope. In fact, I'll say as much to Kruger. Well, I mean, I don't know what the going rate is, but I mean, does that sound like a 10,000 gold crown thing to you?
I think it sounds priceless. So perhaps we should make our way back to Siegfrieda and the Graf and see just how grateful they are, and how we can perhaps get a little bit more of a celebratory end to this night.
And didn't even have to be a judicial champion to do it. Heinrich will crack his knuckles out in front of him, and walk a little bit taller off the platform onto the walls.
And just as you're about to be escorted away by the guards and you see Lord Wasmere being taken away, chains, one last thing does then suddenly pop in your head, Heinrich. One last thing. Didn't he just say you and your 4 friends? Why did he say 4 friends? He didn't mean Erica, clearly. Or did he? Didn't he say a name? Gideon?
He did. And my memory said that Gideon was the guy. There are 2 people who I have conflated in my head, and one of them is the hunter, the crossbow man who was stalking us for a while, but the second was the creepy gentleman who just watched us fight chaos in the sewers.
Yes?
And was the second one is the Gideon.
Oh, you believe the creepy guy in the sewer, in the warehouse, was called Gideon, and the person in your dream called themselves Gideon as well.
I don't like that.
What do the 2 of you do? There's time for one last question as he's being carted off.
Oh, and Gideon. Huh. Just trying to trigger something out of him.
Yes! Your 4th helper, your messenger. Oh, he is totally innocent. Just a normal bystander. Ha! You bloody bastards!
Yeah, what did you end up learning about him? I mean, he's quite something, isn't he?
Yes, your little friend, your messenger from Altdorf. I know he was in on it with you as well.
When did you learn that? And what was it that tipped you off?
But just no. He clearly isn't actually who he says he was he?
Well, I mean, who is these days?
And he's carted off. What do you make of that? Your friend, Gideon. Apparently he told him you were indeed just completely innocent people. Messenger from Altdorf.
I looked to Heinrich. Yeah, what does that mean? Messenger from Altdorf. Do you make any sense of that?
Conspiracies inside of conspiracies. We're already in a weird place, trusting somebody who appears in dreams, right? But is it possible? And I'm gonna just bear with me on this idea. Is it possible that this purple chaos friend of ours, not wanting to say the word Zinch out loud, is it possible that there are conspiracies inside of conspiracies? That there's something even bigger than what happened here?
I think we can count on that, yeah. We're only scratching the surface. Let's see if we will have to dig deeper, or if saving the Graf will be enough of an effort for us. I have a feeling our journey is not over yet, though.
And with that, time passes.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this 3rd part of the series, we are tackling Book 3, Power Behind the Throne. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Ager Sonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We'd like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, Graham Barey, and Doug Thomson for their generous support. And we would, of course, also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real. Except, well, who's gonna believe you? Never mind.